pretty gorgeous day after about 4 days of rain. It's drying out up here pretty good. This wind is definitely helping it dry out, which is something we need. So wind's been howling here today. Anyway, so I thought I would give you a little update on tank locations. Shit, I think I locked that door already, but anyway, this tank here, this is gonna be the water tank. It's about 13 feet long. It's about 7 foot tall, and it'll be about a foot underneath the ground. So we'll have about a foot of shade on top of it. So it'll be an 8 foot hole right here, which is a pretty big fucking hole. Anyway, so the access to the tank is going to be on this end right here. There's a 24-inch access. It's where we set the float valves and everything for the well. It tells the well when to turn off when it gets to the high water. The outlets, the inlet and outlet, are going to be on this end as well. There's two-inch inlet and outlet that comes at the bottom of the tank. It's about 12 inches off the floor of the tank, so there's always about 12 inches of water in there. Probably equates to about 500 gallons or so. So anyway, that'll be down right at about 6.5 feet, about 6 feet, somewhere in there. So those are going to come out. They're going to 90 over this way. We're going to remove this here. We're going to remove this frost free, just to get everything plumbed together, and then we'll replumb it and put it back in there so it's not it's just going to be in the way. So the way the well vault works, we're going to want to core drill through the wall in the bottom so that we can put a booster pump tank in there, or a booster pump in there later. So that'll be all done subterranean down there. So we'll remove all this and restore it so that we can get this all plumbed up. Now while this is done, I'm going to trench from here all the way over to where the window's at, right there, that kitchen window. I'm going to replace the water that comes in. That frost free that's on the floor, looks like that's on the floor, that comes up through the floor in there, that's in the way. It's kind of in a bad spot. Potentially these frost frees can break down underground. You know, it takes 10 or 12 years sometimes before, I mean, it can go a lot longer than that, but potentially it could have issues later, and we'd have no way to get to it except to blow up that floor. So I think now is the time to just figure out a way to get water into the building. So instead of using the frost free that's in there, I'm going to loop water under the concrete about 12 inches in from the edge there. Look at that hawk. These hawks have been, sorry, I don't mean to get distracted, but they've been teaching their babies how to fly. They're nesting in that there's a big ponderosa pine down there, and they've been pushing the babies out of the nest. Me and Mike have seen that a few times with eagles. It's really a cool sight. They squawk at them and stuff. All these hawks are all flying around. It's pretty cool. Anyway, back to business. So the way to get water into this building, you really have to be careful of freezing issues. So you can't just loop it up on the edge of the building and then punch a hole through the side of the building, because it could potentially freeze. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do a 24-inch joint trench right here, and it's going to come over to where underneath the kitchen cabinet, about 12 inches inside the wall, it's going to come up through the floor so we can get past the frost. So I'll core drill through the concrete so that the water can loop up into the cabinet, and you won't have any issues with freezing. So that'll come back into the wall from there, and then it's going to distribute to the kitchen and the bathroom, and all of that plumbing's in. That's all in the wall already. So I'm just going to loop it up to right there. It's going to be a lot cleaner operation that way, so that you know, there's no issues. And that frost free that's in the floor in there, we'll just cut it down to the surface. You'll never even know it was there. And I think that's it's a much better way to go. Saves any potential problems later. So while we have this trench open, we're going to put in two 2-inch conduits that will loop up over there, so that later when you do your solar, if you want to put solar modules on that roof up there, that faces almost due south. So it's a perfect southern exposure for your modules. So I'm going to loop in conduit to there, so we can always later on down the line, we can always add the wire through through there, and we don't have to excavate anymore. So there'll be 2 2-inch conduits that aren't even going to be used for now, that are there for later use, and that way we don't have to excavate again. So the gas propane tank, underground propane tank, should go right up there, provided that you're okay with that. I think that's going to be the best place for it. So what we'll do is we're going to trench before we do the French drain right here. We're going to trench down here. All that, I got equipment coming tomorrow, so all that's going to be gone. I'm going to do all the contouring and get that shit out of the way so we get the flow away from the building. But we're going to trench down here. So the propane is going to loop into the building right here, and it's also going to have a T that comes this way, so that for your future house, we're going to have a riser that just stubs out right there, so we could always add on to that later, wherever you're going to put the house. But that's a good central location so that we don't have to do any more excavating over here. This will be all done. So also from there, we're going to bring water over there. We're going to put a frost free up there, so that you know, if you want to have an above ground garden up here or in ground garden, whatever you want, this will be a good area. You'll have water right next to the propane tank, so that you can water. You don't have to drag a bunch of hose. Also, when I plumbed in here, I haven't punched through the wall yet, but there's going to be a hose bib right here, so you can have a hose that's they call it a frost free as well, but it's a freeze proof hose bib. It's going to pop out right here, and you'll be able to have water for whatever you want up here, if you want to put ornamentals up here or whatever. So we're just going to go redundant on it and put in extra conduit in all of these trenches while we have them open. Let's see how much water we got standing again. This was all dried out before, now it's just a mucky mess. So 4 days of rain. So I don't know if Alex talked to you about this or not, but I had talked to him before he left, and I think this would be a good area here to put a pet door, like a swinging pet door, and a kennel. We could put a couple panels going that way, a couple panels this way, and a couple panels diving back in, so that the dogs can free flow, or they can go out and take a shit and piss whenever they want to, or whatever. Wouldn't be a bad idea to put like a little cover there. We could stack wood and shit like that for your wood stove. That way you don't have to go too far for it. But again, this is going to be sloped away from the building like that. This is going to be cleaned out a little bit and then kind of sloped down to a French drain that shoots that way. This will all be gone, laid down. You'll have a nice, easy approach to get into the garage there. We're going to clean all this out and get it good to go. Let me know if you're cool with those locations. The water tank is being delivered on Monday. I really hope you're good with that location, because I really don't see any other place to put it, and it's a pain in the neck anywhere else anyway. So that location there is perfect. You're not going to see it, and also right on top of it later you can put your backup generator. That's another reason to have those conduits in the ground there, so that we can get power back there to power from the generator. Yeah, so anyway, just confirm with me if you're cool with this location, or we might even be able to push it back that way a little bit. Just need access to it. So here you're really not going to see it, because it's subterranean, and you have just a little clean out cover anyway. So this really is a pretty good spot for it right there. We can tuck it back that way a little bit too. That's not a big deal. Just let me know. Again, gorgeous day down here.